I welcome everyone present in the session to this presentation on Vandana Shiva, a renowned Indian scholar, environmentalist, and activist. Through her work, Shiva has inspired millions to fight for environmental justice, sustainable development, and social equality. Now, let's delve into the making of this remarkable champion. Vandana Shiva's early life experiences significantly shaped her vision and laid the foundation for her pioneer work in environmentalism, feminism, and social justice. Born in Dehradun, India in 1952, she grew up surrounded by Himalayan forests. Her father was a conservator of forests and her mother was a farmer. Her parents loved nature and exposed songs and poems about trees, forests, and Indians. Sorry. Her parents instilled values of conservation and environmental stewardship. Vandana Shiva's parents were actively involved in India's independence movement and instilled Gandhi's principles. She was less than just 10 years old when she read a booklet on short essays by Einstein, which made a huge impact on her life. She realized that she wanted to study science, but with social responsibility. She was educated at St. Mary's Convent High School, Nainital, and at the Convent of Jesus and Mary, Dehradun. Next, we move on to the next slide. Vandana Shiva's academic journey laid the groundwork for her pioneer work in environmentalism. She holds a bachelor's and master's degree in physics from Punjab University. Her master's in physics from Punjab University sparked an interest in the natural world. She furthered her education with a PhD in philosophy from the University of Western Ontario. Her thesis, Hidden Variables and Locality in Quantum Mechanics, showcased her expertise in philosophy of science. This unique blend of physics and philosophy informs her environmental activism, emphasizing holistic approaches and critiquing reductionist science, that is, neglect social and environmental context. Then we move on to the next. From the realm of physics to the pursuit of environmental justice, Vandana Shiva's journey takes an inspiring turn. Vandana Shiva's academic background laid the groundwork for her activism. Gandhian philosophy and feminist movements inspired her. The Chipko movement and Bhopal disaster were turning points. She founded Research Foundation for Science, Technology, and Natural Resource Policy in the year 1982. This a think tank dedicated to sustainable development and social justice. She actually recognized the interconnectedness of science, nature, and humanity. This marked the beginning of her tireless advocacy for environmental protection, sustainable agriculture, and women's empowerment. This passion for sustainability led to the birth of Navdanya, a movement that would change the face of environmental activism. Navdanya, a non-violent movement based on Gandhi's principles, was founded in 1991 by Vandana Shiva. Navdanya means 9 seeds. This represents India's agriculture diversity. It promotes sustainable agriculture, conserves biodiversity, and empowers local communities. Navdanya movement promotes organic farming. It offers economic, ecological benefits by way of soil health and fertility to farmers. The movement also promotes agroecology, a sustainable farming that works with nature. Agroecology promotes farming practices that reduce emissions, recycle natural resources. It manages the impact of farming on wildlife and harness nature to do the hard work for us, such as pollinating crops and controlling pests. This put the farmers and communities in the driving seat. That is, they give power to approaches led by local people and adapt agricultural techniques to suit the local area and its specific social, environmental, and economic conditions. The Navdanya movement conserves indigenous knowledge and biodiversity. It empowers local communities, especially the women, and it also challenges corporate control and GMOs. Next, we'll see a video on Beta Vidyapeeth. So let's have a look on this video. Beta Vidyapeeth.
Namaste, my name is Aditi and I work here at Navdanya's Bij Vidyapeeth, located at Navdanya's Biodiversity Conservation Farm here in Doon Valley. Bij Vidyapeeth is Navdanya's learning center and was established in 2001 by Dr. Vandana Shiva. We have teachers, students, people come from all over the world to learn from nature and to teach and learn from each other. Here we are conserving 1,500 varieties of seeds in our seed bank and growing them every year on our fields. The farm here is constantly changing and it's very, very dynamic. So we can learn from its biodiversity, learn from the farm's cycles and its natural processes. This gives us the opportunity to open it up for people who are interested in learning about organic agriculture, agroecology, and about community living. You can learn from nature through our organic practices. You can learn from farmers as teachers, because farmers have intrinsic knowledge that they've gathered and learned from their teachers, from their community. And finally, we can also learn through community, and community is teacher. So by joining us here, you join a community and we learn from each other and we teach each other. Because we don't just learn with our heads, we learn with our hearts and our hands. And so we invite you to come here and join us so you can learn with your head, heart, and hands by working in the fields, by harvesting, by weeding, by chopping vegetables, by washing plates, by cleaning our campus. These are all the different things and activities that we do daily so we can learn by doing. So we invite you, those who are interested in learning from nature and being a part of this process, to come join us here at Navdanya's Bij Vidyapeeth.
Thank you for watching Bija Vidyapeeth's innovative approach. To conclude, I would say that Vandana Shiva's work through Navdanya and Bija Vidyapeeth remind us sustainable living is not just a choice, but a necessity for our collective future. Then we move on to the next. What are the initiatives taken up by the Navdanya? Navdanya initiatives focus on seed sovereignty. That is the right of a farmer to save, use, exchange, and sell his or her own seeds, organic farming, and community empowerment. Vandana Shiva's Navdanya initiative focuses on seed sovereignty, that is freedom, through a variety of activities, including number one, establishing seed banks, Navdanya has established over 30 seed banks across India to promote diverse agriculture. Till date, Navdanya has set up 150 community seed banks in 22 states of India. Many seed banks are now running independent of Navdanya's support. Navdanya trains farmers in seed sovereignty, food sovereignty, and sustainable agriculture. Since organic farming is eco-friendly, so based on this rationale, the course organic farming practices and certification is offered. Community-supported agriculture programs are examples of direct marketing where consumers support a farm operation in exchange for produce or other goods. Vandana Shiva has been a vocal opponent of genetically modified organisms, that is, they're genetically engineered, and corporate control of the food supply. Dr. Shiva believes that GMOs have led to the emergence of superweeds and superpests, and that farmers are using more pesticides. I'll just cite few examples of GMOs in agriculture. Cotton and corn that were endowed with the gene from the bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis, which produces a natural insecticide called Bt toxin. Field studies conducted in India in which Bt cotton was compared with non-Bt cotton demonstrated a 30 to 80% increase in yield from the GMO crop. This increase was attributed to marked improvement in the GM plants, ability to overcome woolworm infestation, which was otherwise very common. Studies of Bt cotton production in Arizona, US demonstrated only small gains in yield, about 5%, with an estimated cost reduction of $25 to $65 per acre owing to decreased pesticide applications. In China, farmers were first gained access to Bt cotton in 1997. The GM crop was initially very successful. Farmers who had planted Bt cotton reduced their pesticide use by 50 to 80% and increased their earnings by as much as 36%. By 2004, however, farmers who had been growing Bt cotton for several years found that benefits of the crop eroded as populations of secondary insect pests, such as mirrets, increased. Farmers once again were forced to spray broad-spectrum pesticides to the growing season, such that the average revenue for Bt growers was 8% lower than that of farmers who grew conventional cotton. Dr. Vandana Shiva claims that GMO corporations' profits grow as farmers' debt grows. She also believes that the international food supply is controlled by corporations, not governments, and that this has led to crisis of malnutrition. She also believes that the system of seeds based on monoculture is entirely wrong and inappropriate, and that a biodiverse system is needed to produce more food. She also believes that the global crisis facing agriculture can be solved by returning to local small-scale farming that is no longer reliant on agrochemicals such as fertilizers, pesticides, growth-promoting hormones. She has also emphasized the importance of traditional ecological knowledge in preserving biodiversity and sustainable development practices. She has also spoken out about the appropriation of indigenous knowledge through biopiracy, which she describes as a contemporary form of colonization. Now, let's watch Vandana Shiva's powerful talk on corn seed freedom. In this video, She exposes the dark truth behind corporate seed control and shares inspiring stories of resistance and resilience from farmers all around the world. So here we go. Corn seed freedom video.
So today is the day of corn globally. And it's the Mexicans where the corn diversity started, who started the day of corn. So today, in solidarity with the day of corn, besides the fact that the farmers of India from their different regions have brought their own soil, brought their own seed, to commit themselves to take care of the soil in this year of soil, to take care of their seed freedom. In particular, with the beautiful corn, the indigenous corn that can reproduce and is renewable and is open pollinated, the Indian farmers from states where we grow corn will exchange it to commit themselves to seed freedom, to exchange, breeding, selling their own corn, and announcing that no law and no corporate power will come in the way of their duty to protect the seed, to do good farming, to produce good food, and to disobey any system, whether it be an economic system, a corporate system, or a government law that comes in the way of our duty to the earth, to the biodiversity, to future generations. He's saying take care of these seeds, multiply them, spread them, and totally boycott the corporate seeds. And with this, we create a common future for the world.
On behalf of over 800 organisations in 125 countries and several million farmers, as a farmer, I take this with great joy and want to celebrate our right as farmers to grow, save, trade, sell, swap seeds, and no law will stop us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this video, Corn Seed Freedom. After looking at this video, I would say that Vandana Shiva's words remind us about seed freedom is not just a farmer's issue, but a human rights issue. Let's recognize the power of seeds to nourish, sustain, and liberate. Coming to the next, GMO, genetically modified organisms, or we say organisms which have been made by genetically engineering technique. Vandana Shiva, a leading voice on sustainable agriculture and environmental justice, has dedicated her life to exposing the risks of GMOs. With her extensive knowledge and experience, she challenges the biotech industry's claims. So let's listen to her persuasive arguments in this debate. So let's watch this video.
The very idea of GMOs is a death knell for biodiversity. Biodiversity means the integrity of life. GMOs mean appropriating life, to own it and patent it. And because there are patents related to GMOs, and the only reasons GMOs are being introduced is to own seeds and collect rents and royalties, corporations push the handful of crops that they have genetically modified. So you can see in the last few years, cropping systems have been reduced to corn and soya and cotton and canola, when we have cultivated and eaten thousands of crop varieties and species. The uniformity and monocultures that are being pushed by GMOs are driving out diversity directly, but they are driving out diversity because instead of using less more efficiently, which they always claim, that land we are using more efficiently, they're having to invade the Amazon, they're having to invade the grasslands of Argentina for a very expansive and wasteful agriculture. And when you spray Roundup on Roundup Ready crops, you are literally killing food and diversity. When you plant Bt cotton seeds, you're killing the bees and the pollinators and the soil organisms. GMOs are a recipe for ecocide. But they're not just a recipe for ecocide and the destruction of biodiversity, they are also killing our farmers. 284,000 Indian farmers have committed suicide. Most of them in the areas where cotton is grown. 95% of the cotton is now genetically modified, owned and controlled by Monsanto. The farmers are dying because Monsanto is making profits by owning life which it never created but pretends to create. That is why we need to reclaim the seed. That is why we need to get rid of GMOs. That is why we have to stop patenting of life.
Thank you so much for watching this video. The key takeaway from this video, that is Vandana Shiva's expertise, underscores a crucial truth. And that crucial truth is that GMOs are not the solution to hunger or sustainability. So let's prioritize agroecology and farmers' rights for a healthier, more resilient food systems. So coming to the next slide, this slide shows about Navdania's farms. In the middle, you can see Dr. Vandana Shiva in her own farm. Then you can see also the farmers working at the Navdanya farms. Then below, the extreme right, left are the seeds which have been preserved or conserved. Then in the middle, you can see that chemical-free zone, which welcomes to Navdanya Biodiversity Conservation Farm. And at the last, the extreme right at the bottom, you can see the animals at the Navdanya farms. Moving on to the next. Climate change and energy sustainability are also at the forefront of Vandana Shiva's work. She has consistently emphasized the need for sustainable development and climate justice. She recognized the disproportionate impact of climate change on vulnerable communities. Now, what are these vulnerable communities? The communities are the countries which are low income, the indigenous communities, then women, children, and elderly, small island developing states, and African and Asian communities. Vandana Shiva advocates for renewable energy sources, reduced emissions as greenhouse gases, and climate resilient agriculture. Now, climate resilient agriculture is just a set of practices and technologies that help agriculture systems adapt to and recover from climate change. It's a vital strategy to improve global food security and environmental integrity. Now, some of the examples of climate resilient agriculture includes like weather forecast products at the local level, using rainwater harvesting techniques, using cropping systems that can adapt to extreme weather conditions, constructing structures like check dams, contour trenches, and stone bunds to control erosion and improve rainwater percolation. Climate resilient agriculture can help to safeguard food production. It reduces poverty, protects the environment, improves nutrition and farmers' income, reduce susceptibility to water scarcity, pest, and other climate-related adverse events. Vandana Shiva supported sustainable development and climate justice. She also critiqued carbon trading and offsetting. Carbon trading is the buying and selling of credits that permit a company or other entity to emit a certain amount of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases. The carbon credits and the carbon trade are authorized by governments with the goal of gradually reducing overall carbon emissions and mitigating their contribution to climate change. Vandana Shiva argues that carbon trading allows rich nations to buy carbon credits from poor nations, perpetuating climate injustice. Enables companies to continue polluting rather than reducing the emissions of greenhouse gases. Carbon trading creates a market for carbon credits, profiting from pollution. Carbon offsetting is nothing, but it is just greenwashing. That is, it allows companies to appear environment friendly or eco friendly without actual reduction in the emissions of greenhouse gases. Carbon offset, it is ineffective because offsets don't lead to real emissions reductions. Carbon setting is unaccountable as there is no guarantee that offsets benefit local communities or environments. Offsets can delay transition to renewable energy. Vandana Shiva promoted local, decentralized energy solutions. Now, decentralized energy solutions refer to energy systems that generate energy locally, which is close to the point of consumption. It empowers individuals, communities, or regions to control their energy supply. It promotes renewable energy sources. It reduces reliance on centralized fossil fuel-based power plants. Now, I would cite some examples of decentralized energy solutions like rooftop solar panels, community wind farms, biogas plants, micro hydroelectric power, solar-powered irrigation systems. The benefits of decentralized energy solutions, which is said it increases the energy security, reduced transmission losses, enhanced energy efficiency. It leads to the creation of job and local economic growth. It improves the air quality and reduces the emissions of greenhouse gases. There is enhanced community engagement ownership, and it also reduces the dependence on fossil fuels. So Dr. Vandana Shiva challenges carbon trading and offsetting, instead promoting local, decentralized energy solutions. Her vision for a sustainable future is very clear. We must have a transition from fossil fuel to renewable energy and prioritize energy efficiency and support community-led initiatives. Let's draw inspiration from Vandana Shiva's work and strive for a climate just world. Coming to the next, Vandana Shiva's ecofeminist framework recognizes the intimate connection between women's empowerment and environmental sustainability. She argues that women's experiences and knowledge are crucial to addressing ecological crisis. Ecofeminism challenges patriarchal systems that perpetuate environmental degradation and social injustice. Dr. Vandana Shiva believed that the exploitation of nature and the oppression of women are intrinsically linked. She argued that patriarchy has labeled women, nature, and other groups not growing the economy as unproductive. She also believed that women have a special connection to the environment through their daily interactions, and that this connection has been underestimated. It emphasizes the need for gender equality, climate justice, and women-led initiatives. Various environmental movements like Silent Valley Movement in Kerala, Amrita Devi Bishnoi Movement, Narmada Bachao Andolan or Save Narmada Movement, Chipko Movement are the significant environmental movement of India that reflect the integral leadership of women. Hence, Vandana Shiva's work inspires us to recognize women's critical role in environmental conservation, challenge dominant patriarchal structures, promote sustainable development and climate justice, empower women as agents of change. Coming to the next, challenging corporate power and promoting social justice are the hallmarks of Vandana Shiva's advocacy. Vandana Shiva is known for her opposition to globalization. She argues that corporate-driven globalization perpetuates inequality and poverty. It destroys local economies and cultures, undermines democratic institutions, privatizes natural resources. Vandana Shiva has opposed the World Trade Organization and free trade agreements. She has campaigned against the 1994 WTO agreement that allows patents on life forms. She has called the patenting of life biopiracy and has argued that it gives wealthy corporations the power to own and control life. Shiva has highlighted biopiracy as a theft of genetic resources and traditional knowledge for commercial purposes. She has also accused transnational corporations of hijacking the trade-related intellectual property rights agreement to their own ends. She has fought against attempted patents of several indigenous plants such as basmati rice and neem. In 2005, Shiva was one of the 3 organizations that won a 10-year battle in the European Patent Office against the biopiracy of neem by the US Department of Agriculture and Corporation W.R. Grace. Shiva summarized the neem dispute as the free tree is no more free. The dispute was over a patent granted to the neem plant for its use as a fungicidal treatment. The Indian government objected to this patent, providing evidence that the neem's medicinal properties were known to indigenous communities. The European Patent Office eventually revoked the patent, but the dispute sparked a debate about the ethics of intellectual property and patent rights. In India, after the neem patent controversy, the need to protect the traditional knowledge of India has gained immense importance. India has taken an initiative through Traditional Knowledge Digital Library, which helps the examiners of patent offices to search for any information regarding substance or practice while granting patents. And they can dismiss the grant of patent if the substance or practice is already there in the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library as India's knowledge. In 1998, Shiva's organization, Navdanya, began a campaign against the biopiracy of basmati rice. Then coming to free trade, Shiva said that free trade is based on food swap, where countries, they just import and export the same commodities. She has argued that free trade makes farming harder and that existing free trade agreements should be repealed. Trade liberalization can increase food prices, which can disproportionately affect the poor because they spend a large portion of their income on food. Trade liberalization can increase competition from large-scale subsidized producers, which can make it harder for individuals without the resource to compete. Dr. Vandana Shiva challenged corporate control over the natural resources. I would like to give some examples for corporate control over natural resources. So one of that is of banana crops. In the 20th century, multinational corporations made huge profits from banana crops in Central and South America. For example, the US company United Fruit paid off. Politicians hired thugs to terrorize workers and orchestrated the overthrow of the governments. Another example is of fisheries in Bangladesh. The government auctions rights to use water bodies for 1 to 3 years. Rich investors, known as water lords, often purchase the licenses and hire fishermen as day laborers. Then another example is of multinational companies and governments. Now, what multinational companies do? They secure property rights and profit repatriation rights to contract with governments. For example, in Peru, companies can establish stability agreements with the government that make them immune to tax rises for a period of 10 years. Coming to the next, Vandana Shiva's writings. Her writings and books have inspired a generation of environmentalists and activists. Some of the notable books are The Violence of Green Revolution, Biopiracy, The Plunder of Nature and Knowledge, Staying Alive, Women, Ecology and Development, Stolen Harvest, The Hijacking of the Global Food Supply, Earth, Democracy, Justice, Sustainability and Peace, Soil Not Oil, Environmental Justice in an Age of Climate Crisis, and Making Peace with Earth. These are just few books. There are many more books which she has written. Coming to the next, Vandana Shiva's dedication to environmental conservation has been recognized globally, earning her numerous awards and accolades. She received Right Livelihood Award in 1993, honoring her efforts in promoting sustainable agriculture and biodiversity. This award is just equal to Nobel Peace Prize. The next, Global 500 Award in 1992, recognizing her contributions to environmental protection and conservation. Then she received UNEP Champion of the Earth 2006, celebrating her leadership in environmental sustainability. Then in 2006, she received another award, that is Earth Day International Award, acknowledging her commitment to environmental education and awareness. These prestigious awards demonstrate Vandana Shiva's unwavering commitment to environmental protection and sustainability. Then coming to the next, Vandana Shiva's commitment to human rights and social justice has been unwavering, and she has been honored with these prestigious awards. Thomas Merton Award, 1995, honoring her dedication to social justice and peace. Then Sydney Peace Prize, 2010, recognizing her contributions to human rights and social justice. International Peace Bureau Sean McBride Peace Prize, 2012. This award is for acknowledging her leadership in promoting peace and disarmament. Then she also received Human Rights Award from the city of Weimar, Germany in 2012, celebrating her tireless efforts for human rights and social justice. Then coming to the next, Vandana Shiva's work has garnered international attention and recognition, solidifying her position as a global leader in environmentalism and social justice. In 2013, she received Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in the world. Then Forbes' list of world's 100 most powerful women in 2010. Then again in 2011, she received India's Today's 50 most powerful people in India. She has also received other international recognitions, honorary doctorates from universities worldwide, like University of Toronto, University of Berlin. She was featured speaker at international conferences like UN Climate Change Conference, World Economic Forum. So Vandana Shiva's international recognition is a testament to her tireless efforts in promoting sustainability, social justice, and human rights. Her global influence inspires a new generation of leaders. Now, coming to the next, let's reflect on some of Vandana Shiva's inspiring quotes, guiding principles for sustainable future. The earth has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. A poignant reminder of the importance of living sustainability and equitably. Second quote, seed freedom is essential for food freedom, and food freedom is essential for human freedom, highlighting the critical link between sustainable agriculture and human rights. Then the next quote, the survival of the planet depends on our ability to reconcile our differences and work together. This quote is a call to action for global unity and cooperation in the face of environmental challenges. The violence against the earth is also violence against women, and the violence against women is also violence against the earth. This quote illuminates the interconnectedness of social and environmental justice. Then another world is possible, and it's already being created by people who are taking control of their lives and their communities. So this is a message of hope and empowerment for creating positive change. So now let's watch another video, Dr. Vandana Shiva's exclusive on climate change and metabolic impacts of food. Here's the video on climate change.
India Climate Summit saw distinguished expert Vandana Shiva, environmentalist and managing trustee Navdanya Trust.
Well, we will be in a position to feed not just human beings, but all beings, because every being must eat. People forget that. The birds must eat, the earthworm must eat, the mycorrhizal fungi must get its food. If instead of degenerating the capacity of this earth to produce food, we regenerate it in the kind of work we do in Navdanya. When I say degenerate, what do I mean? 75% of the soil and water has been destroyed by an industrial model of agriculture. An industrial model of agriculture is based on fossil chemicals. You know, fossil chemicals are based on fossil fuels. 1 kilogram of urea requires 2 liters of diesel equivalent. And then it has massive externalities, destroying the water, emitting the most serious greenhouse gas, which somehow no one talks about. Nitrous oxide is 300 times more damaging to the environment and to climate than carbon dioxide. Soil organisms die, you know. We work with the soil, we work with soil organisms. You just put urea on an earthworm and see what happens to it. Apply it to fungi, they won't live. It's a toxic substance. 93% of the biodiversity of this planet has been destroyed, either by monocultures of an industrial system or by chemicals whose objective is only one, to kill life. Insecticides kill insects, so no wonder 80% insects are gone. Herbicides destroy everything green. No wonder biodiversity of plants goes. Fungicides designed to destroy the most important element of life, the fungi in the soil, the mycorrhizal fungi in the soil. But most significant is the connection between an industrial model of farming based on fossil chemicals and greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. I wrote a book in the lead up to climate summit at Copenhagen called Soil Not Oil. And I worked out then that about 45% emissions come from an industrial food system. That data has been updated since then, and it's about 54%. 14% from production, which is the only figure usually mentioned. No one talks about the destruction of forests for a globalized system in which you're not growing food, you're growing commodities. 90% of the corn, GMO corn and soya, goes for biofuel and animal feed. It's not feeding people. Another 20% comes from over-processing food that makes us sick. It uses energy. Transporting it thousands of miles, packaging it. You know, I've done a rough archaeological analysis of the waste we are creating everywhere. Just go through the packaging. 75% is either plastic in which you brought the vegetable home or packaging of the food, and 4% is wasted. So 50% of our climate problem is an industrial model. And yet, on the other hand, when we shift to ecology, we regenerate soil. I would give you the data.
So that for data, you can refer to the Google. In this video, it shows that till today, she is fighting for the conservation of the environment. Vandana Shiva, a legacy of sustainability and justice. Her legacy inspires us to take action, engage in environmentally conscious practices, and advocate for social justice. We should foster global solidarity, collaborate across borders and cultures to address common challenges. So as we conclude, let us strive for a better world, join forces to create a more sustainable, equitable, and just future. Thank you all for joining me on this journey. May Vandana Shiva's vision inspire a brighter future for all of us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Dr. Anil, sir. I hope I have been able to do justice with the work which Dr. Vandana Shiva has done and what she's still doing on for, I think, for all of us. And I'm really inspired for the kind of work she has done and is still doing it.
Thank you, Ritu Tandon, for such a nice research and presenting so many things to us. I hope that most of us were not familiar with Dr. Vandana Shiva. So whatever Ritu has said, it is very difficult to summarize in short time. But what I can visualize that the one thing is that she is very close to Punjab because she has done BSc and MSc from the Punjab University. So that gives a moment of smile for Ritu because she is also from Punjab University. And then very interestingly, she has done all the education from physics. And she has worked for the environment, seed conservation as an activist. In 1980s, she has founded Navdanya that you have seen here to protect the seed biodiversity and to promote the organic farming. Now you can very well visualize what is the necessity of organic farming. Now the people are coming back to organic farming. Next is about GMO, genetically modified organism. I just tell you one example that most of you might be familiar. The example is about the eggplant, that is brinjal, bangan. You might have seen that brinjal used to suffer from two things. The one is the infection, borer or pest infection, and second is the brightness. So for this, GMO is used. If you see GMO brinjal, empty brinjal, you will be surprised to see the brinjal size is very large and it is very shiny. The shine of brinjal is because of a fish scale. Scales are present on the fish skin. So that gene which is responsible for the fish scale is being taken from the fish and inserted inside the brinjal. And second is for the pest, the bacterium is used, bacterium gene is used. So it is a combination of three. Now you can visualize whether you are a veg or non-veg. So it is something very unethical. So she has worked on that, written a number of books, 2-3 books Anju had mentioned: Stolen Harvest, Soil Not Oil, Earth Democracy, Biopiracy. And one thing that is, we have to understand that she has got a Right Livelihood Award, which is referred as Alternate Nobel Prize, for his effort to promote agricultural practices and sustainable development in our country. She is supposed to be the anti-establishment because she is always raising a voice. And this voice is for the betterment of our country, for the betterment of our environment. And whatever problems we are having in agriculture, it is because of the use of more and more urea. And you have seen that she has given, like the last one example, that if you're putting urea on the earthworm, what will happen? So same can happen with us. You might have seen in the villages today also, and in some parts of the country today also, they used to wash the wheat. Whenever they used to get the wheat, they want to convert into the flour, atta, then they used to wash the wheat just to remove the urea. So this is something very interesting that today we have discussed about a lady who has been the champion of this. You can see the human rights, at least on the what to grow, what to eat, and how to live. So she has always promoted the Indianness among all. And she is the true Gandhinian as far as the approach is concerned. Whenever you have time and want to see, go and see how she's working in Dehradun. So thank you very much. Thank you all. It is a nice one. And thank you, Ritu. You have really researched very hard.
Well, thank you so much. I feel really honored. I never knew that she has done so much of work for us. And it's really, really very inspiring to go through her journey of life. Thank you so much.
And I thank all the teachers and the children who are here, and they have supported us. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Namaste, sir. Thanks to all my friends.
Namaste.
For giving me such a huge support.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you.